Okay, let's go ahead and call tonight's nuisance abatement board meeting to order. Happy New Year, everybody. So, I guess we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Yep. We don't have the detective here, so I can just lead us in it. All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Madam Secretary, you want to call the roll?
Okay, yes. Can you hear me?
It's not working.
Okay. John.
What'd you say? Oh, it doesn't matter.
John Foreman.
Yep, here.
Joel Slotnick.
Here.
Glenn Lindsay.
Here.
Robert Faneff.
Here.
Abador.
I'm here.
There we go. Okay. All right. And then is there anybody that we need to swear in? One? Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, you can just stand there. Yep.
Do you solemnly swear and/or affirm to tell the truth?
Yes.
Please say your name and spell your last name for the record.
Danny Santiago, S-A-N-T-I-A-G-O.
Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. Did everybody get a chance to review last meeting's minutes? And do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve? Second?
Motion to approve.
Oh, this was, sorry. We were just approving last meeting's minutes.
Who made the motion?
I will second.
Perfect. All in favor say aye.
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 Nay. Hearing none. Meeting minutes are approved. Okay, so I guess we'll just move on to our first case of the evening, which is case number 22. That's the only case of the evening. 22-11-03, 5100 North State Road 7. And who's going to be?
We have an update on the chateau first.
Oh, perfect. Okay. And then is somebody going to present that? Who's doing that?
Yes, we have a sergeant. We have a sergeant.
1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Good evening, board. Number 00 Chateau. We received notice on December 13, 2022 from legal assistant Pat McNabb that the sale of the property was final. The board can now vote on releasing the property from nuisance abatement jurisdiction.
Okay, I would like to make a motion to release Chateau 00 from the nuisance abatement board as they have been sold and met all the requirements to do so.
I'll second.
Okay, I think we got to call roll for this. Yep.
Mr. Foreman.
Approved.
Joel
second.
Slotnick.
Approved?
Mr. Lindsay.
Approved.
Mr. Faneff. Mr. Pemper.
Approved.
Perfect. Okay, so we're good. Do we need we'll take care of any signing or anything like that after. Okay, so, and then I guess just the status hearing on 5100 North State Road 7 would be great, Detective, or Sergeant. Thank you.
No problem. Just want to give you guys a heads up front. Mr. Santiago has been very cooperative as far as communicating with us and responding back to emails. Going to go over some of the facts that we've dealt with in the last couple of months, or last month, really quick. The findings and the facts were delivered to Mr. Santiago on 12/21/22. The invoice was also emailed to him on 12/22/22. Over the past 30 days at the Plaza Hotel, we've had a total of 107 calls for service. Since the last meeting, we've had 8 calls for service in reference to larcenies, burglaries, 32 trespass calls, and 2 narcotic purchases which were made. I'm going to go into more details about most recent one as of last night. In comparison, we examined police-related incidents of 2 nearby hotels, one being the La Quinta, 5070 South State Road 7, just south of, had 22 calls, and the extended stay at 3873 West Commercial Boulevard had 1 call during that same time frame when compared to the Plaza Hotel. Detective Jameson Jones visited the property on one of the evenings and took photos that we have for the board and will show shortly. On 12/21/22, we received the invoice from Mrs. Santiago from Armani Electric for the replacement and repair of the parking lot lights, which were fixed. We were verified that a couple of nights. And then on 1/7/23, we received video of the parking lot lights, which were repaired. On 12/26/22, we received pictures of the 4 nuisance abatement signs, which were installed around the building. The investigative fees were also paid. He provided proof of that. The rate was raised from $50 to $89. Unfortunately, cash is still being accepted. Myself and Mr. Santiago, we spoke about that. I believe as soon as he releases guests paying with cash, majority of his incidents and crimes will go down. Replacement locks are about 30% completed. As of last night, we saw some of the rooms did have the new locks on them. A lot of them still needed. We also received a list of current employees and the tenants, which is very helpful for our investigations going on at the property. The weekly occupancy rate was also received. Updated camera system with 32 cameras has been installed and will be completed to its fullest on Monday. Right now, Joyce is going to show you guys some of the pictures so you guys can observe.
Actually, I think this is last month's. Is this last month?
That's last month's pictures? Okay.
Oh, no, it's this month's because
Okay.
the trash is cleaned up. Remember that trash area was pretty bad? So that's nice and cleaned up. And here's the signs that he put up. I believe they're at each entrance. Yeah, they've always been white. This is a video. How do I play the video?
See if you can press the button again and see if it'll go. There you go. Showing the light was installed. The light's a big help because prior to, all that area was dark and people were hanging out. Unmarked. So that's just the detectives going around showing the lights that were fixed. You go to the next slide, Joyce.
So he repaired the fence.
That's the fence that was repaired. The camera system. Mr. Santiago let me know that they recently took over the hotel, and I guess their previous owner had dummy cameras set up in the hotel, which weren't capturing, but now they have more cameras, which are going to help for Lauderdale as far as like follow-up investigations. This is the new door lock that's being installed. You'll see a video in a few what some of the doors look like, and it contributes to a lot of our burglaries that are happening. And I'm gonna read some of the reports so you guys can see. Right here, this is how the door looks like. Top right corner, what the bad guys are doing is they're pushing the door open and putting their hands through and unlocking the door from the inside, which is kind of crazy. I think this is a video. Is this a video?
No.
All right, keep going.
We have a bunch of these first.
Yeah. So 30% of the hotel doors have been replaced, and so they're still working on. This is one of the exit doors. One of the requirements that we had was that every exit door had to be completely shut. Mr. Santiago let me know tonight that the new door is in and will be in place and set up soon to help alleviate that. There's another door from the bottom. You can see how guests can just easily push open and unlock it. And so I just want to highlight a couple of the reports that we had, just so you guys have an idea what we're dealing with. On 12:30, we had a burglary call where the victim said an acquaintance in the hotel room was hanging out and smoking marijuana. The marijuana she had bought on the property, and it was when she had to go to the hospital because she wasn't feeling well. While at the hospital, they advised her that she had cocaine, methamphetamine, and Molly in her system, and she was released a few days afterwards. On January 3rd, security advised that one of the tenants on the property pulled a knife on him and threatened him, and this is security. At the time, CC footage from the hotel was not working. On January 7th, a guest who was staying there said someone was attempting to get into his room. They scared him off when they said, "Who's there?" On January 8th, we had an aggravated battery occur with security on scene. The victim was beat up with a bat, and after the victim was beat up, security told him that he had to leave the property. Fort Lauderdale had to respond to the hospital to do the report on that one. On December 14th, we had a burglary. Unfortunately, there's no surveillance cameras currently on the hallways, but the victim got information that one of the tenants in the room, 308, was the culprit. Follow-up investigation determined that the culprits were kicked out of the hotel, but the victim's items were not located. And so that's there. Mr. Santiago provided me with a list of tenants, and moving forward, he's going to provide me with that. That's going to help a lot. One thing I told Mr. Santiago is, as of last night, there was 161 rooms rented last night. Out of the 161, 72 were cash payers. I recommended that starting in February, he have a detail, at least 2 detail officers in the parking lot. That's going to help alleviate a lot because starting February 1st, they're going to start major renovations at the hotel. It's going to help with security for some of the equipment, construction equipment, but also deter some of the crowd that's hanging out in the parking lot. Last night, we were able to do a spot check, and we were able to conduct a narcotics transaction in the parking lot with police on scene. And so I think if we can eliminate the cash payers and have at least 2 detail officers, anywhere from 12 o'clock in the afternoon till overnight, it'll help alleviate some of the crime, especially when you compare it to the other hotels in nearby vicinity that aren't accepting cash payments. And I think that's about it. That's all I have, Joyce. Any questions?
Sorry. Is there like a formal recommendation that we're trying to, as far as the detailed officers and stuff like that?
Right. So from you guys, if you guys recommend it, which I think is Mr. Santiago's on board for, the lead detective on this is currently out on sick, so he apologizes for not being here. But as one of the recommendations that I believe he would also recommend, but I believe you guys have to give the final
Approve,
say.
sure. Mm-hmm.
So
that's the detail, the 2 police details?
yeah, I believe
And then
that'll help.
was there anything else?
The other stuff, Mr. Santiago has been very cooperative with
Sure.
the list. He's been working on and providing details and working on getting them accomplished.
Yeah, the
And
no
move the
cash payments,
Yeah,
okay.
that's a huge,
All right, and we want to add those to the order?
correct.
Sorry, go ahead, yeah, you can speak if you'd like, we just need it in the microphone.
Danny Santiago, Santiago. The cash situation, like I was telling him, it's going to take a little bit of time to start resolving because 70% of our guests is already there, so we need to start winning little by little. What I did was increase the deposit 300, and February 1st it's going to go to 500. So that's going to deter 90% of them because you cannot put $500 deposit because to impose that will be a big damage to the hotel financially right off the back. So you need to work with me here to do it gradually to eventually get it all out. Yeah, I will appreciate that if you take that in consideration.
How much time would you need to?
I would say that by March 1st, we should, because once the renovations start, we're already going to have 100 rooms that we're going to have to take people out because of renovation. So once those rooms being constructed, then we're changing the procedures. I would say March 1st that will be something that we could definitely do
Feasible. So March 1st to have, so starting obviously as soon as possible, you're not accepting cash, people who are paying cash, but the people who are already paying cash, you'll be able to wean
Correct.
them off by March 1st.
Right, because what happens is when you checked in, I mean, normally in normal circumstances, the reason that La Quinta and Extended Stay, their corporate mandate is that you can only check in with credit card, and when you check out, you can pay cash. Unfortunately, because we are an independent hotel, it was being done for such a long time that it's going to take us a little bit to weave that, which I want to do that. But it will be a huge financial impact if we do it immediately right away, on top of everything else that we need to occur. So I will appreciate the consideration there among anything else.
Sure. So the idea is that starting immediately, Mr. Santiago, you wouldn't be accepting cash from new visitors or new clients, correct?
Right. Well, it's going to give me, because the problem is since we got reservations already on the books all the way to March 1st, now we have to get the guests know
To convert those guys.
Correct. That's the problem.
Understood.
And it will be right. March 1st, I will say that, 90% of the cash only, we will take cash only. And because one of the things that I was saying, Detective and also Jameson, is we average about $4,000 or $5,000 in cash a day. To me, that's unacceptable because that is a reason to somebody can rob us. And I'm being so shocked in 30 years doing this job that this hotel hasn't been that so amount of cash that we take. So I'm trying to cut that in right away. So,
Got it. Any other questions for anybody for Mr. Santiago or the sergeant?
Just in general, kind of on the cash payment, do we have the authority to recommend that a private business not accept legal tender? I mean, I understand that the private enterprise can freely make that decision, but do we as a nuisance abatement board have the authority to require that or recommend that?
Yeah, yes, we do. With the jurisdiction of the Nuisance Abatement Board, we have the right to change the payment terms. We have the right to recommend background checks. We have the right to recommend details to be put on the property. We can change the hours of operation. We can do a lot of things that you normally can't do to a private business when they have a business license in your city.
Okay.
Got it. Okay, so the recommendations, Sergeant, are obviously starting immediately is not accepting any more clients paying cash, and then the second piece of the puzzle is giving the hotel till March to convert the existing residents that are currently paying cash. And then the second piece of the puzzle would be 2 police details on site?
Yeah, because it's a large property.
Sure. Oh, absolutely.
I
The
definitely
way
do that.
expand, you need at least 2.
Yep.
So,
Got it. And those would be the 2 recommendations that you're suggesting?
100%.
Okay.
Well, I would like to make a motion to follow the recommendations of the Fort Lauderdale Police for this nuisance abatement case that we have.
Any second.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
How much does it cost to have 2 police people there every day? Is that what we're saying? Does someone get billed for it? Is it part of the budget for the city? What happens?
Sergeant, you want to answer that one?
So because it's a private business, it'll be through the business. They would negotiate eventually with the detail coordinator. I honestly don't know what the cost would be, unfortunately. But it was something that the hotel would coordinate through Detective Jameson and a detail coordinator to see what's more feasible as far as the hours, the time. They would look at the highest call volume time. From what I can see on this call for service, it's usually after 12 over to the overnight hours 5, 6 in the morning when the majority of calls for service are happening. And so it might require a total of like 4 or 6 detail officers, rotating, of course, throughout the day. But that's something that they're going into more details when he sits with Detective Jameson and
And of course,
detail
that's
coordinator.
a major expense that the hotel will obviously occur because obviously the hourly rate for each BSO is pretty high. So that's why, changing, that's why I made the comment about, eliminating the cash right away and give us time because that would bring our business down so quickly, revenue to accord that. Now, I do believe, and I think you agree with me and Mr. Jameson, is having 2 police officers right off the back, even if we're paying cash right now, it's going to detail, because now they're going to know it's every day. It's not like they see them stopping by. No, they're every day. So that's definitely going to, because I don't care how bad you are, if you see the cops there, you just want to.
Sure.
So that's definitely going to help. So, but, we also need to protect our revenue to support, something like that. Getting to the point that we want is, which changed our photo payment. So that's something that hopefully you guys can work with us, obviously.
And one thing I told Mr. Santiago too, this detail wouldn't be forever, but it'll be especially during renovations and during this next phase as we get the hotel back in better standing.
I would say that between 3 and 6 months, having their help and with what we do in the hotel, I think that would, I'm not going to say it's going to be completely up, but I would say it's going to eliminate, 70% right off the bat. Would you say? I mean, just because having the police there day and night and having 2 police officers.
A big deterrent.
Oh my God, it's just like, I don't care if you pay cash. Now, in fact, even if you pay cash, now you probably don't come anymore because you see that they're there. So, I mean, that's my hope. And then hopefully we don't have to go through this again. But once that happened, then I think that, him and I could, go over, what the next step would be. But I would say between 3 and 6 months will be something that could definitely help big time for us.
So the hotel pays for it.
Yep.
And are these off-duty police
Correct.
officers? Yeah.
They'll be off duty.
Gotcha, okay, thank you.
Got it. Okay, so we have a motion to approve.
Before you
Oh,
make the motion, I'm sorry, I'd ask the sergeant to clarify the times, or the board to clarify the times of the detail they're recommending. The time of day, it's not a 24-hour detail, I don't believe.
No.
Right,
Correct.
I didn't get that.
Is that right, Sergeant? It's just that night?
Right, so it wouldn't be 24 hours, predominantly after 12 o'clock until overnight.
Yeah, 12 o'clock midday to
Right.
7 o'clock the next morning.
Right.
It'll be 12 noon to 7 o'clock in the morning.
Right. Something like
That's
that would work. That's where most of your calls for service are happening at that
Almost
hotel.
24 hours.
So
Majority
12
of-
noon till 7. Okay,
Yeah, 7 in the morning.
7 in the morning.
So that's what we're going to put on the order? That's what you want to put on the order?
Is that what we typically do? We want to put a time on there?
I'm sorry, what?
We should put a time on there?
I would defer to our attorney.
Yeah, as a point of clarification, you have to state the time of the detail. If it's a 24-hour detail, that's fine. If it's a 12-hour detail, that's fine. If it's whatever the sergeant is recommending, I'm just unclear on it, and I know the motion was made, but I'm not clear on what the motion was making. The
Sure.
time of the detail for, because it's 2 officers, 2 marked cars, as I understand it, for how long?
Sure.
From when to when?
Do you recommend, Sergeant, that it just be 12 hours and you guys are able to kind of pick that 12-hour period?
That could work too. That
So
could
why don't we
definitely
just,
work.
so 12 hours, and that way there's some flexibility if you guys are finding,
Correct.
whatever.
And I also did told him that because we got a security company right now, this got to start at least February 1st because to give us time to obviously let the other company know without us have to pay the penalty because this comes from the city of Fort Lauderdale. So February 1st would definitely be, good time for us to start with the services right away.
Okay.
Doing it right away would not, it will affect us in the sense of I have to cancel contract, even though it comes from the city, it's going to cost me about 10 grand because we didn't give them we have to have at least 30 days, but I can work with the owner and say, hey, due to the fact the city of Fort Lauderdale, they require the February 1st, so then, they stepped in and then the security come out.
I do have a question. You're talking about a tow company?
No, our security, we got armed
Security-
security 24/7 right now.
So you have to terminate the contract with
Well,
the
of course,
security?
if you guys stepped in, we don't have no choice. We cannot pay,
Both.
we can. It's.
Well, you would still need security during the time when the police isn't there. So maybe the other 12 hours.
I'm sorry, say that again?
The other 12 hours when you don't have the detail.
Yeah, we will have to, it have to be it have to be how much it will cost us, because that will put us a huge strain to the business. I know we need it, but we need to do one or the other.
We'll definitely work with them and see.
Okay.
A good
Do we
compromise.
need to put a date on that?
Yeah, do we need to put February 1st?
Yes.
Okay.
February?
February 1st is fine,
Yep, that's fine.
Sergeant? Okay, for the police detail.
Correct.
Does anybody have any comments on kind of what we're crafting up here?
I mean, just the only other comment is you talk about tenants, you have people who are staying there long-term.
Oh, yeah,
And so it's kind of like their home, so to speak.
pretty much.
And so by changing the form of payment with a certain schedule where you're coming up on, March 1st is a hard deadline, you're no longer taking cash, period. There'll be long-term residents there who essentially.
Correct. We're going to give them 30 days out, and then, unfortunately, this is, what the new procedure is. So we cannot just go to her and say, if you don't pay credit card, you're out. Fortunately, the law doesn't allow us to do that. So we need to give them an opportunity for them to make all the arrangements.
Understood. We're pretty clear on all the points. Okay,
I was just making sure that the motion was clear to everyone.
Sure.
I'm not trying to interfere.
no, 100%. No, needs-
Understandable, absolutely.
So there's a motion to approve that, as stated. Do I have a second?
Oh, I need to make sure that he's as a city attorney, that he's on board, obviously. 'Cause
Sure.
This is going to take a group effort to make this work.
Yep,
So,
yep. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Santiago.
my
Yep.
pleasure. Thank you
We
for listening to
certainly
me.
appreciate the steps that you've started taking.
Oh, thank you.
Because you're obviously very passionate about getting this taken care of and over with.
Absolutely. I mean, as a person I know, it's embarrassing to be in a situation that, especially like he said today, the Quinta is literally next door to us, to having 17 calls, and the Cine stays like a couple of miles from us. It is, so we are the problem, so we need to fix that. So I do appreciate the support you guys giving us.
Yep. Thank you so much,
My
Mr.
pleasure.
Santiago. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Okay, so I guess let's call roll.
Mr. Foreman,
Approved.
Mr. Slotnick,
Approved?
Mr. Lindsay,
Approved.
Mr. Fainop,
Approved.
Mr. Pemper.
Approved.
5-0.
Okay. All right. So now that we have that all taken care of, let's go ahead and move on to the final.
5-0, motion passes.
Oh, 5, yes, the motion, the order is, or the amendment to the orders is approved as stated by the sergeant and amended throughout this discussion. Let's go ahead and I guess board discussion. Is there anything to discuss from the board?
No?
I think my term actually ends next month, so that will be my last.
April would
Is it
be,
April?
because it ends in May.
Is that right? I thought did we look at it as February? We'll confirm it. It's coming up here. So we're gonna have to figure out just the transition there. But that's all I have. Is there anything else anybody wanted to bring up?
So you're gonna be done?
Yeah, I'd term out.
He's-
Someone replacing you, or?
That's for the board to figure it out. Yep, it's done. Just cancel the whole thing. Thanks, Mr. Santiago.
There will be a change, there will be a change in a couple of
There's a
roles.
vote, exactly. There's a vote for the vice chair and the chair.
But there'll be someone new, I guess, joining as well, right?
Yeah, we'll need to
There
have
will
somebody
be an
new
open
to it.
position.
I'll let them know that we
Yeah.
don't.
What is the term to serve in
Ooh, is it 3 years?
6,
6.
Have I been here 6 years?
yeah.
Oh my gosh, I've been here 6 years. That's
Time
crazy.
flies when you're having fun.
Wow.
6-year
Yeah, it
terms.
has been a
yeah.
while.
I think most of the rest of us are on 3. Yeah, so it'll be 4th. For the 3 of us, it'll be our 4th terms.
Yeah.
So we have 4, 5, and 6 to go.
Wow.
it doesn't change all in one.
No.
Yeah, each
They're
one's different.
appointed,
The city commission.
Okay.
yeah, they're appointed by the commission.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to have 2 alternates too, but
It is what it is.
we haven't had those in a while.
Is there anything else from the board to discuss? Hearing none, adjourn this evening. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll move adjourn.
I will second.
All approve, say aye.
Aye.
Nay. Hearing none. This meeting's adjourned. We'll see you guys next month. Thank you so much.